This morning on DC News Now, it's a DMV first warn day. A wintry mix expected to return later tonight. Meteorologist Jackie Layer timing it all out. A string of shootings in the district.
We're asking anyone with any information to please reach out to us.
Where police investigations stand this morning. And salvage operations continue in the Potomac. Officials reaching a major step to bring closure to the impacted families. Plus, a looming deadline for federal workers, anxiety over returning to the office, and possible layoffs.
Most people want to keep their jobs rather than get rid of them.
And celebrating Black History Month, where to find all the celebrations across the DMV.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good morning, and thanks for starting your Wednesday with us here on DC News Now. I'm Tanaya Wright.
Good morning. Happy Hump Day. I'm Tosin Fakile, Shanika Grimshaw, tracking your Wednesday commute. But first, we're going to start things over with our meteorologist, Jackie Layer. Jackie, things are good, quiet right now, but that's going to change later today.
Yeah, that's going to change later on this evening and also into tomorrow morning's commute. It's not going to be ideal. It's going to be very icy out there. We already have some winter storm alerts to talk about. Now, it's later on tonight that we'll see some widespread wintry mix pushing across the area, and that will also include some freezing rain and sleet, and that will lead to some ice accumulation. So we have winter weather advisories issued for much of the region. That will hold until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then back off towards the north and west. These are the areas where we're under an ice storm warning. These are the areas where we're likely to see the higher totals of ice accumulation that could lead to some power outages. When we're talking about totals, that could be upwards of 0.2 of an inch. Winter storm severity index. This is just a look at putting together how this ice could potentially impact you, and we're talking about 3 out of 5 on that scale, moderate, back off to where we have that ice storm warning. So when we're talking about moderate in terms of the winter storm severity index, that's the area where you're likely to hopefully stay off the roadways if you can throughout the duration, at least into tomorrow morning's commute. Stay off those roadways if you can, just because it's going to turn icy out there. Cloudy and colder out there for the day today. Wintry mix pushes in later this evening. And we're talking about freezing rain and sleet overnight, and overall looking at an icy Thursday morning commute, especially for those overpasses and bridges. Those will likely freeze first. But I'll certainly have more details on this and timing it all out coming up. But Shanika's back with the latest on those roadways this morning. How's it looking right now?
Morning at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, Jackie. Looking nice out there. I mean, look at the bridge. No problems. You're seeing movement. This is the 14th Street Bridge at 395 heading northbound, heading right into the district there, which, by the way, if you're heading over the Southeast Southwest Freeway 695, that all looks good and clear. Hopefully it stays that way. 66 heading east and west, 95 north and southbound. Really no big issues. Nothing major at all. DC 295 is going to start to slow down, and I am seeing some slowdowns just a bit. And that is over the Anacostia Freeway. Woodrow Wilson Bridge, it's looking good.
All right, Shanika, we'll take it. Thank you. 6:02, we begin with breaking news out of Maryland. Prince George's County Police investigating a deadly overnight shooting in Accokeek. It happened on Livingston Road. Police say they found a woman with a gunshot wound on the scene. She died there. Police are now asking anyone with information to contact them.
And developing overnight, 2 teenagers shot in southeast D.C. Now police say a 17-year-old boy died of his injuries. Officers say that shooting happened at about 7 o'clock between 2 apartment complexes on 6th Street. A 16-year-old boy who was shot is expected to be okay.
We're in the early stages of this investigation, but we can share that we believe this event occurred after an altercation between individuals known to one another. All right, we're asking anyone with any information to please reach out to us.
Now, as of right now, no arrests have been made, but if you have any information, you're asked to call police. And also in D.C., police have made an arrest after a shooting in Navy Yard. Police responded to 1st Street Southeast at about 4:30 yesterday afternoon. The victim was taken to the hospital. Police say the shooting was domestic in nature. And it has now been almost a week since that deadly mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and a military helicopter.
And right now, crews say they've recovered the remains of all the victims. But how this happened is still the big question. DC News Now's Yamari Sase live near that crash site. And Yamari, they've recovered the remains. Have they positively identified who those remains are?
Yeah, good morning. They have recovered all the remains of these 67 victims, but of course, they have positively identified all except for one, and that's all still part of the investigation. Now, the goal right now for investigators is to really give support to these families, but also get to the bottom of this investigation. Now, just yesterday evening on Tuesday, they were in salvage operation, recovering parts of the American Airlines jet in the Potomac River. Now, they were actually able to find pieces like the right wing and part of the left wing, and also parts of the cockpit, the TCAS computer, and quick access recorder, and more. Now, efforts will actually focus now on recovering parts of the Black Hawk helicopter as families continue to mourn the loss of their loved ones. Unified Command extended their condolences and also say they're committed to supporting them. Now, a lawyer who's represented families of the plane crash and also a former navigator says the victims could possibly start to see some lawsuits.
I mean, you've got a tragic loss of life that really should have been avoided. These families are never driven by money or recovery, but just why did this happen and why did it happen to my loved one on this day?
Now, as the investigation continues, they are asking anyone near the Anacostia or Potomac River if they see any parts or anything that they don't know what it is. They are encouraging you guys not to touch it and to contact 911. We're now reporting at Oregon National. I'm Yamari Sase, DC News Now.
Hi, Yamari, thank you. We know crews are working hard. 6:05 is your time. Trayon White is no longer a D.C. council member in an unprecedented move. The council voting unanimously and quickly to expel the Ward 8 leader who's accused of accepting bribes. Dozens of White's supporters filled the council's chamber during yesterday's expulsion vote. An ad hoc committee led that investigation into White. They found substantial evidence he broke city code, ultimately leading to his expulsion. White was indicted on one charge of federal bribery and is accused of accepting cash in exchange for his influence on city contracts. After that vote, White immediately left council chambers and did not make any comments to reporters, including if he would rerun for his seat in the upcoming election.
It's just critical for an elected government.
Not one of those people have ever come and knocked on, even walked on my street, including the chairman, to say, how do you feel?
A special election is expected to happen soon. The Board of Elections is in charge of initiating it, and nothing stops White from running in that special election. In the meantime, the at-large council members say those who live in Ward 8 will still be represented by them. And RFK officially in ownership of the district. D.C. Council officially transferring ownership of the RFK Stadium site to the district. The council unanimously passed that resolution yesterday. Now, whether a new stadium will be built and who would pay for it, those questions still up in the air.
All right, 6:07 now on a Wednesday. The Virginia House of Delegates will soon take up a bill that would allow the creation of a casino in Tysons. Now, it passed the Senate yesterday by a vote of 24-16. The bill would also allow an entertainment district to be built around the casino. If the bill passes in the legislature and signed by the governor, it would go to the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. And after that, it would have to be approved by voters. And in national news, an ongoing battle over the fate of USAID continues, with the Trump administration placing direct hire staffers on leave. Now, the order takes effect midnight Friday. Then workers will have 30 days to return home from across the globe. Now, this impacts all workers except those deemed essential. Thousands of agency employees already have been laid off, and programs worldwide shut down after President Trump imposed a freeze on foreign aid after taking office.
Meantime, federal workers and advocates continue to protest the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the government. Billionaire Elon Musk, with President Trump's blessing, moving quickly to try to shutter multiple federal government offices. This is happening without congressional approval, causing chaos and confusion.
This is a setback, and this is really undermining so many fundamental principles of democracy and freedom. And I'm for extending democracy, not rolling it back.
The protests over the freezes and cuts continue today in the district. D.C. Council member Charles Allen posting on social media that a protest to restore foreign aid will happen at 11:30 this morning. It'll happen at Upper Senate Park, that's near the intersection of Constitution and Delaware Avenue. A return to work executive order for many federal workers is having a significant impact on commuters.
That is right. Our Daniel Hamburg has more on how Metro says it is seeing record numbers.
Traffic on the railways and on the roadways has picked up in the last 2 weeks.
I have noticed it. Originally, it was just on Wednesdays because that's usually a day when everybody is in the office. But now it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Not so much as Friday, although I'll be returning to the office on Friday next week.
That's largely because of President Trump's return to work executive order. On Monday, the Office of Personnel Management sent a memo to department and agency heads saying union contracts that go against management's wishes for telework are unlawful and cannot be enforced. The American Federation of Government Employees, the largest federal workforce union, says it plans to challenge that.
I understand the people who are bothered and concerned about it, like who have to change their lives, add money to their commute, stuff like that. I get that part. It doesn't affect me quite as much as it does others.
The order is benefiting Metro, which says it's seeing record ridership numbers.
Oh, definitely, yes. Metro's packed, standing room only.
Monday's 8 to 9 a.m. hour had 92,600 trips, the highest Monday rush since 2020.
Metro is started to build up a little bit, but it's part of the job. It's part of life, so I'll keep doing it.
On the other hand, if federal workers want to accept the Trump administration's deferred resignation offer, they have to do so by Thursday.
I have several friends that are in other agencies who aren't going to take it. In this state that we're in, most people want to keep their jobs rather than get rid of them.
And at least 20,000 workers have reportedly accepted the offer, though several unions filed a lawsuit yesterday trying to stop it, calling it misleading, coercive, and unlawful. In a statement, the American Federation of Government Employees says, quote, not only are these actions illegal and a scam, but they are eroding the health and well-being of our communities.
611 officials representing DMV communities with large numbers of government workers holding town halls this week addressing looming cuts to the federal workforce. Virginia Representative Eugene Vindman is holding a virtual meeting tonight at 7 p.m. He'll be joined by representatives from the American Federation of Government Employees, the largest federal employee union. And Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey also holding a town hall tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. And all this comes as Washington Post reports that a memo from an Elon Musk ally claims layoffs across the federal government will happen if too few employees choose to quit before that Thursday deadline.
All right, your time right now is coming up on 6/12 on a Wednesday. The DMV continuing to celebrate Black History Month.
Yeah, coming up, we're taking a look at a new art at a local community center. Plus, a local hospital is expanding in Maryland. How new renovations can help people stay healthy in Montgomery and Prince George's County.
But first, we are taking a live look outside. Jackie, it's a DMV first warn day, but the weather is going to be moving in later today.
Exactly. I mean, out there right now, we're tracking cloudy conditions and colder temperatures when you compare it to yesterday morning. Most areas in the 30s. We'll have more details on that wintry precipitation right after the break.